come and fold your undies. I'll show you how. Which then led to that sign that you may or may not have seen that was held on the side of the road in Adelaide, but we can get to that in a second.
Tamara Speedie, welcome to Start Somewhere the podcast. You are the CEO and founder of Sort My Space, a certified KonMari organizer, business coach, and you're all about helping busy professionals transform their spaces into functional havens. And you've just launched a portion of your business here in Adelaide, which is where I currently am. So
Yay!
exciting. Tamara and I, we actually caught up for ice cream just last weekend, and we met in the Gold Coast almost a month ago now. So it's so great to have you on the podcast, and congratulations and welcome to the show.
Yay! Thanks for having me. Oh, and it's so great. Yeah, I'm absolutely thrilled that we got to catch up, especially for ice cream while I was in Adelaide. That was wonderful.
The taro flavor.
Yeah, honestly. I was like, what is this purple thing? And taro, what does that even mean?
Yeah,
And
if
then,
anyone has the 48 flavors nearby, I feel like they're known for their taro flavor, which is potato
yeah,
flavored ice cream.
which
Don't
really
hate it till you
sold it
try
for
it.
me,
Oh yeah,
honestly.
let's go.
So 10 out of 10 would recommend to a friend. Actually, so much so, I think I grabbed a couple on their way in and I was like, hey guys, what are you here for?
You
Is it
did.
the taro flavor? You need it.
You did. You were really putting on your marketing hat, which is really why I wanted to bring you onto the show, because I love the nature of your business. Me personally, I love being organized. It really is like a little
Oh,
thing I just
so
always
good.
do. Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
And so when I learned more about yourself and your business and learning about what you were doing here in Adelaide, which we'll dive into, guys,
Yeah.
you are going to want to listen closely, take notes, not only for your confidence for doing everything that you did, but also just how it's really helping you expand your business here in Adelaide. So I really would just like to start from the beginning and just get quite a brief snapshot just for the listeners to know your journey for starting and why organizing. Why did you create Sort My Space?
Yeah. So I am the kind of friend that if you've ever seen Friends, I am the Monica Geller of my friend group,
Oh
right?
my gosh,
I
I
come to people's
totally see that now. Oh, how did I not put
there
that
she's like
together?
ding.
You are Monica Geller.
Yes.
Yay, oh my
So
gosh, I love Friends. Now I have a Monica in my life.
right? And so I would come to people's houses and like turn their toilet paper around because it was on the roll the wrong way. Like, what are you doing?
What is the wrong way?
Okay. If you have a cat, you are exempt from this. And that is the only reason why, possibly also if you have a small toddler. However, the toilet paper needs to go over the top of the roll as opposed to down underneath it. And the only reason the reverse is true if you have a cat or a toddler is because if they hit it, it will then continue to roll itself around. However, back in the old days, maybe they're not so old, I don't know, toilet paper used to have pictures on it. And so when the toilet paper went over the top of the roll, the picture came out as you were pulling it.
I
And
remember
that's why
that.
it's the right way.
Okay, I love that. There we go. For the
So
listeners, go check your toilet paper.
right? So pause this, duck off, come back. And so anyway, like growing up, I just was like, this is what happened. This is what happens when a Virgo raises a Capricorn. And so then she already had the right way. And then I am the stubborn goat that goes, this is what we're doing. And then Marie Kondo released her Netflix special in 2019. And I was like, hang on, you mean to tell me all of those people I have lived with since I was like, I don't know, early 20s and moved out of home, they actually couldn't organize? It's not that they didn't, and it's not that their mother hadn't, like, it's like that they didn't know how rather than they were just lazy. And that was honestly the philosophy. Like, I chunked them all in the, you guys are lazy and you don't care. And it was from that, like, I guess the Marie Kondo special was a permission piece for me to accept that, oh, there are people that don't know how to do that. And therefore, there is a need for this in the market to be able to go, hey, I do it and I do it really well and I'm so much fun. Let me come and fold your undies. I'll show you how. Which then led to that sign that you may or may not have seen that was held on the side of the road in Adelaide, but we can get to that in a second.
Can we get to that now, actually? Just
Yes. So if you've ever
Look
been
it
to
up.
Adelaide, there's a double roundabout.
The
Apparently,
Britannia roundabout for those
yeah,
people.
yeah. The other name we were calling it Kensington roundabout or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, that works as
Yeah,
well. Basically, it's the roundabout where about 5 or 6 main roads all interject, and there's actually two roundabouts in one. So it's
yeah.
essentially the biggest, or I don't know, the biggest slash busiest one of them in Adelaide.
Intersection. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
And so I thought it was the greatest publicity stunt known to man for me to be walking around on the side of the road and at one point dancing in the middle of the roundabout, holding up a sign saying, 100% of successful people fold their underwear. I'll show you how. And then there were two other signs that we also held. One said, running late, it's not the clutter. It's not the kids, it's the clutter. And another one said, which was a little bit more on the cheeky side, it said, call for the best night's sleep you've had all year and had my phone number listed. Now, that was more about how much better you sleep when your home is organized and your space functions well for you. Though I thought maybe we would just lure them in.
Well, a little bit of spicy. Nothing wrong with that.
Why not?
So tell me and the listeners,
Hmm.
why is it so important for people to keep an organized and sorted space? It may sound like a super simple question, but coming from yourself, you're an expert, you know your things, you've created a business out of it that is now not only in Queensland, but now in South Australia. So why is it so
Yeah.
important? Why should people really be tuning into this?
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much busyness and joy that can be felt in life through running your own business and being a parent and running around with kids or just hanging out with friends and traveling and doing the thing. And if your mind is filled with all the clutter of those, like if you think about it like an internet browser, or actually, you may even remember there used to be a TV commercial where the guy would be all covered in all these post-its all over his entire body. And
Yes, yes,
I
yes,
think it was for insurance or something, though I think of that as like that's the visual representation I get when I think of all of the to-do list tasks, like, and people aren't watching the video, they can't see me, but you just start sticking all of the post-its. So I literally have done this just now, and
guys. Tune onto our YouTube so you can really see a visual. If you're not
and
already.
and you've got them all over you, and you can't put them down. Whereas organization and having some systems in place that
Yeah, loves.
essentially map your brain down into your home
Yes.
allows you to just like it to work in your favor and flow through and support you rather than you contorting yourself into this weird pretzel with your leg in the air to make yourself fit your home. Like, for what purpose would we choose that the home gets to dictate how we live when we're the being that has the movement? Like, no, no, let's bring it back. Let's make it work to support us. And
I
it
love that.
just freeing up that mental space, it gives you back some joy, some
Yeah.
time, the gift of calm and the ability to then focus your energy and your effort to something that you want to be doing rather than the little naggy things on the side.
Yeah, it really is that holistic approach, like you mentioned, is what your whole
Yeah.
business is all about. So I suppose for people listening, whether they do have a super cluttered space or maybe they don't, how can they recognize if that is something they really need to give more love to, more care to?
Yeah, of course. So I think if you're finding, okay, here we go.
All right.
So if you've got like flat spaces, typically think of things like the kitchen bench or the desk in the office, they tend to be a bit of a magnet, even the dining table from time to time in some houses. And if you find yourself at a point where you're uh, I guess we would call it an ADK loop. And if you know much about neuro-linguistic programming, you might know what that means. However, what if you find yourself looping and unable to even make a decision in a moment?
Overthink, overthink.
Yeah, overthinking. Thank you. I was like, there's another word. That tends to be what like that it's a high contributor of those instances that you find yourself in. So you're getting to that point where it's like all of a sudden everything feels like chaos. So,
Yeah,
someone might have, I don't know, bought home light milk instead of full cream milk, and then you ballistically lose your bananas at them and you freak out and have a meltdown. Like, there's a good chance it's actually not about the milk, like, and it's about that. the other things that feel like they're not working for you and are not going right. And it's all that level of stress that just keeps building up because I can't put anything away because I don't know where it goes, or I can't get to its home anymore. I can't find it because it didn't have a home and I can't put it away. And then all of a sudden the two just get so inextricably linked that
Mm.
you're caught in this, like, and then it gets to the point where people reach out and they go, "Oh my God, I can't anymore see my way through this
Yeah.
because and I need someone else external to just, hi, can just help, please?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you find you typically find people who are almost like at their wits' end? It's like it's come to such the breaking point where it's just too much for them. But what about for people? What can they do in their own life that they can prevent that from happening? Because I think it's really
Yes.
interesting. I'd love for the listeners to really tune in. You know, your example with the milk, it's often not those little simple things that make us explode. It's these little things repeated over time. And like,
Yeah.
and I'd love for you to speak into this as well. Obviously, having a cluttered space that is going to add to that complexity there
Yeah.
without you even realizing on a subconscious level, would you say?
Yeah, absolutely. Like if you think about just wanting to get dressed in the morning, right? Simple task. I know I'm going to wear clothes. I mean, I could walk outside naked and then maybe we would just won't do that today. So imagine then going to open the wardrobe door and it's so stuffed full that it can't even run on the runners anymore properly. And then you like jiggle it and you shuffle it and then you think, or you open it up and it's in such a chaotic state inside it, you don't know where the tops are, where the bottoms are, or how to see your way through the mess that's inside, that you just stop and you turn around and you go to either the dining table or the back of the couch and you go, I'm just going to wear one of the clothes that are here from that clean clothes pile that I haven't put away because I couldn't get it in there.
Yeah.
And that's almost the like band-aid to that is like, oh well, I can't make that decision and I can't fix that thing right now, so I'll go here to just get the quick decision because life is continuing to move forward regardless of what state my wardrobe is in. Whereas there's been times where we've come in and just implemented some systems and even realigned things and shuffled them around, and it might be one simple change that looks like making all the coat hangers the same, and just by proxy of that one change, the clothes sit nicer in the wardrobe and they don't feel as cluttered and don't get as tangled. So even though you might still have a bit of bulk there, because like I did want that shirt in pink and blue and green because it's comfy, though they now line up well. And so that in its own self allows the system to work a bit better for you. And it means that it's not like the mundane tasks aren't becoming a fight just because of how you're living. The systems are there to support you, and
Yeah.
that's alleviating that
Ah,
that's
yeah.
happening behind all the tasks.
No,
Pre-warning, me being on this episode, please maybe turn it down one or two notches on your volume. I tend to get excited.
but we love that.
Yeah.
No shade on my sister, but you would die if you saw her wardrobe. It doesn't
Oh dear.
close. It's
Oh.
it's it's the yeah, the doors come off the buckle. She was away in Europe a couple of years ago, and while she was away, because I love to organize, I organized her wardrobe,
Yeah.
and it was perfect. It was a masterpiece. Then she came back, and it was a bomb. And I was like, oh my God, I spent so
Oh.
long organizing.
Oh. Yeah. Did you explain it to her when she got back? Did
No.
you
Well,
talk
no,
her
not
through
really.
the system? Okay. So, and all
Yeah.
right, not that we're here
Give us
just to
some
throw
like little
shade on
systems.
people. However, someone who will remain
No, let's do
unnamed and
it.
is the father of my children. So, for the longest time, we had one basket and one child that was swimming at swimming. So that basket would have her towel, a towel for whichever parent she was in the pool with, her bathers, their bathers, like that was the whole thing. Then when we had our second child, all of a sudden, magically, about 4 months after he was born, two baskets started coming to swimming. Belle, we were 12 months in and I finally lost it, right? Every week we were going to swimming, and every week my husband was just chucking stuff in baskets, like because we were taking both of them. Turned out I had implemented a second basket, and I thought because I put the blue wet bag with the A on it for my son, and then I had a pink wet bag with a T on it for my daughter, that that meant that the baskets were clearly identifiable as this was one for her and her stuff and the parent she swims with, and this was one for him and his stuff and the parent he swims with. turned out I didn't actually explain that to my poor husband. So 12 months down the track, I have blasted him. Like, okay, it really wasn't a blasting. And though I still blew up in that moment at the pool and was like, what are you doing? Why are you putting your jeans in this basket? This is mine and Alex's, not yours. Your stuff is in that basket over there with Taylor. And he goes, oh, I didn't know that. I just thought we bought two baskets to swimming because we've got more stuff now. And I was like, what? Did you not? We've been doing this weekly for 12 months and you didn't just ever realize that magically all of the things you need, including the hairbrush and the leave-in conditioner, is all just magically in that one basket that you take to the pool. And you never actually happen to have the stuff in it that we would need. And therefore we can get changed and dressed separately every week after each session. And to his credit, I never explained that that was what the system was. I just thought it made so much sense to me. I
Yeah.
thought, how could this be missed? And yet I implemented a system and didn't tell anybody and then was wondering why the house couldn't keep up with what I had done.
Okay. So it's
So
communicated. It's simple.
yeah, there's a whole layer of that. Like it's clear in your mind. And even too with amongst our beautiful team, like I've noticed we can have a couple of team members on site at any one time operating in a space. And there'll be some times that we might like open a drawer and go, what's this here? And as soon as they label it with what they saw, more often than not, we don't ever want to change it. However, if I just open it, I'd go, oh, I don't know if they're gym or swim shirts, so I'll just pop that in and like thinking that it adds to that, and it doesn't. And it's only through that identity of what the system is and how it should be functioning that I feel like it can stick better.
Okay, that makes so
Mm.
much sense. And
Yeah.
so, for the listeners, what are some simple systems that they can implement in their bedroom? We'll start with the bedroom, with the
Yeah.
wardrobe, touched on that, to keep that super clean space.
Yeah, sure. So I guess having like definitely I'm a big fan of everyone having the same coat hangers throughout. I feel like it
Yeah,
just
that's such a game changer. You just feel like you have your shit together. Like I have
right?
velvet ones, like, oh,
Yeah.
beautiful, just so divine.
Yeah, exactly. And then there are some beautiful tutorials on how to do some really crafty folding in our
Okay.
wardrobe and, oh, sorry, in wardrobes on our socials. And even still, though, one of the first questions we'll ask when we're coming to a client's home is, this is how we fold. Where do you stand on this? And if they're like, that's so cute, Tam, and there is no way this side of utopia that I'm going to get that done, we don't do it because
Okay.
I'm going to coin it. It's going to be called Tamagami. It's like a whole thing.
Love, love.
Right? And then if you're not willing to do that though, it is an absolute magic trick and I will fit 48 shirts in this drawer and you will fit 12 because you didn't do it my way and therefore I don't want to set anyone up for failure so that we leave their house and the system falls down.
Yeah, yeah.
So making sense of where you're at with things like that. If rolling is what you are happy to
Mhm.
do,
Yeah,
there's no right or wrong in this. You can organize in a multitude of ways, and it's about finding the system that works within your body and within yourself.
yeah.
And equally too, like some people don't ever want to fold, they're happy to be chuckers. So then we go, great, we need tubs for you. And we'll find the tub that fits in the biggest or drawers, and then they can just chuck and that works. And so we label it on the outside, make it a nice tub that's a bit more visually appearing so that the let's just call it the mess of all of the tangled shirts doesn't create a visual aspect because if it's in a clear container it would and that would still feel really overwhelming.
Okay.
So putting that behind a nice neat basket that lets them just dump in. It's what's working mechanically for them. And if that's not actually creating a problem, like I would have a problem with that because I'd get my shirts out and be like, well, now I have to steam everything or iron it or yeah, like that's another task. And
Yeah.
if that's not an issue, then that's great and it works for them. So it's about just noticing those things. And
Okay.
two, yes, everybody on Instagram, I feel like organizes their clothes in rainbow, right? Like it's all color coded and pretty. However, what you need to ask yourself is how do I think about getting dressed in the morning? So I myself am very visual. I actually get dressed in colors. And so I'll wake up in the morning and go,
Me too.
I want to wear I want to wear that white and black top, and then I'll either wear it with black or white shorts. Like, so before I know the item, I've already decided like today is a black and white day. And that's not to say that every, on Wednesdays we wear pink. Not doing that, though. I mean, we could.
Yeah.
I'd be fine with a little bit of order. No. Though some people don't think like that, and they would wake up and go, okay, it's going to be 24 degrees today, so I need shorts rather than jeans or something. And then they would go, I want to wear pants. And then they want to find the pants in that. So in
Yeah.
that instance, instead of going, if you think about a wardrobe, instead of having all of the white bottoms together, so you might have the skirts, the shorts, the trousers, I don't know, maybe denim overalls or whatever that could look like. Instead of having all the styles in the one color together for the people who would dress in color, you would then separate that out and go, all of the shorts are together because this person thinks about how they want to get dressed by knowing the style of the item, less about the color. So then you'd have all shorts and it would be black, white, brown, denim, whatever's going in there. And
Yeah.
so again, it's about pulling out what's on the inside of your beautiful little brain and working out how to map it into the space.
That's perfect. And
Yeah.
can you speak into why we should fold our underwear?
Oh my God, because
Guys,
all of the successful people
just
fold their
listen.
underwear.
Really listen to this for a moment because that was what was on one of your signs
It
when you
was,
did
yeah.
your guerrilla marketing in Adelaide. There was a sign
Hmm.
that said successful people fold their underwear. So,
Yeah.
and funnily enough, I learned about this probably a few months ago. And as soon as I did, I refolded all my underwear and now it looks,
Yeah.
and whenever it's a mess, I'm like, this is just not okay. So I'm doing it, guys, as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Like think about, oh, and it's a long ago problem now, though. Think about when it used to be all of the shopping bags, the plastic ones, and you'd
Yes.
shove them into a container or into another bag, and you'd pull out one and they'd be tangled and it was a whole mess. Like who wants to go through that argument? If you've got like your nice G-strings and they're tangled in with your full briefs and then your period undies are coming out,
Yes.
like it's
Yes.
just
No.
no, I want to be able to grab one thing.
Yeah.
So it's like putting the pair of the socks together. And I don't know if there are people out there that aren't pairing their socks up.
Do
However,
people do that?
I don't know. Sometimes they don't.
Totally
And
not.
I like to think it's just the ones that haven't been matched yet and put away from the laundry.
Yeah, you
Not
have
that
like
that's,
an odd bucket.
yeah. I
Yeah,
know,
that's
because there
like
is still,
yeah.
like, as organized as I am and as many clients as we've helped, there is still some conspiracy happening in the laundry. I don't know,
Oh,
it holds the
things
sock for a
disappear.
week and then releases it. Like, I don't know what
It's
happens
magic,
there.
really.
Yeah.
It's oh sorry.
So the folding the underwear, it's essentially a metaphor for life. How you do one thing is how you do everything. And if you can be putting in that care and that personal touch and taking that pride in yourself to that level, that's going to have flow on effects for your life. And even still, just for the simplicity of going, I want to wear that pair today and pulling out one and just getting one. And then that transaction takes less than a second rather than three or four while you shake it out. Again, the people on YouTube are going to love this. Everyone driving in their car is like, what just happened to her voice?
I love the visuals.
Yeah.
And so when it comes like we'll stick to the wardrobe.
Hmm.
For example, I have a drawer for my underwear, a drawer for my socks, and I've strategically put them close to each other because I typically reach for both. So even little things like that. So how can people think of their space, whether it's a dresser, bedside table, hanging up,
Hmm.
putting things the right position essentially? Like what is that process from your world?
Yeah, definitely. So essentially, it's taking stock of what you have because in some homes, like take your wardrobe for instance, I could come over and I could look at your wardrobe and make sense of all the clothes that you have. And then I could go very to your next door neighbors and their clothing situation might be completely different. They might have ball gowns and you might have gym gear, like being your heavy hitter. So the first part of this is definitely making sense of what the categories are and then looking at the landscape of what you have available. So there are some categories I wouldn't often hang, and equally too in home, like they can definitely be hung really well. But gym gear typically for our clients doesn't get hung, it's neatly folded and packed away.
I
And
agree.
though it's about looking at how big that category is
Oh,
that does it need the whole drawer? Does it need a half a drawer? Can I share it with swim? How big is swim? Like swim in some households is above 40 bikinis and other times it's three like a full piece and two bikinis and a sarong like so it depends on each individual's size of their category and then looking at the layout of what real estate we have available like okay, I've got not much long hanging, and though I don't really need it because I've maybe only got 3 dresses. However, that might then give you the permission piece of going, okay, I'm also going to use this space to hang up my long skirts because they're sort of related. And though they can then hang, and that frees up the bottom hanging that I have for my pants and my bottoms to just be jeans, trousers, shorts, and shorter skirts and things like that, right? So it's finding the relationships between items, like finding their friends and then going, great, we have the real estate to support you being in this category rather than this category. Though just remembering that there doesn't have to be any rules. Like it might be that in the top drawer, you can fit bras, undies, socks, and that's it. And then it's full. And in other homes, like they might have really wide drawers. And so they can also then, like we have put their gym stuff in because that's, say, a 5 day a week activity rather than the once a week activity, which might be swimming. So
Mhm.
then equally too, like swimming would go further down because it's not happening as often.
I love that. So
Does
taking
that
stock
make a bit
take,
of sense?
essentially. Yeah, that makes so
Yeah.
much sense. I
It's
think,
like it's so clear in my mind and I don't
yeah,
know if I got my
no.
words out about it. Yay.
As you're explaining that, I could like just visually see.
Watch the vision. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just like, yeah, I see it all. I
Great.
see it all. So
Yeah.
let's shift slightly and talk all about
Mm-hmm.
your guerrilla marketing that you were doing when you were down in Adelaide last week.
Yay.
So this was a huge focal point for why you were here. And for
Mm-hmm.
those who don't know, guerrilla marketing traditionally is unconventional forms of advertising. So not so much your social media, not so much your billboards, not so much things that we typically think of with marketing. So I would love for you to speak into your experience in Adelaide the past couple of days when you were here and what
Yeah.
that experience looks like for you. And you mentioned they were stunts. You labeled them as stunts. So,
Definitely.
and when you were
That
telling
felt
me,
like a better word than tactics because that
yeah,
felt a little
yeah,
bit.
I love stunts. So talk us into your stunts.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, between Instagram reels from just, I don't know, having them pop up in my algorithm and being the entrepreneur I am, I often see like other businessy type reels pop up. And so that, and I took my couple of favorites that I had seen on Instagram and then was like, Chat GPT, dear chatters, what can we do? This is my plan. This is where I want it to go. What do you think? And then there were a few other ideas that came out of that we were looking at.
Yep.
At one point, one of the suggestions was getting a crisp $5 note and then handing that out to people, just walking through, like, hypothetically Burnside Shopping Center with a business card that also said, hey, we found this and you know how good this feels that we've found it for you. Imagine how great it's going to feel to have space, and then like leaving it at that, or letting that be the thing that opens up the conversation. Everybody's going to receive you well because you're handing out money. If we did it to 50 people, it's only $250. That's realistically, that's great budget for a marketing exercise. Like, definitely winning there. And it's breaking down that approach. I don't know if you've ever walked past the shopping center and you know the guys that are in the middle and they either want to sell you paintballing or ask you to buy a lotto ticket or something, and everyone's like, phone down, don't make eye contact,
Yeah.
run. And I don't let people have that opportunity. I'll see you make eye contact and I'm coming for you. And I'm walking straight
I'm
up.
not surprised.
Yeah. And so it was about a lot of, well, actually, even a lot of the clients in Queensland and northern New South Wales have often said, like, it's your personality that draws us in. Like, we love this and the bubbly. And so I thought, well, great. How do I map that straight over to Adelaide? Because if if I'm the thing that people are buying into when they're buying my business, what do I do that makes them real, like get the Tamara Speedie experience, um, and bring it to them? And so past the handing out cash, because that was that was a very exciting idea. Standing on the roundabout like that, it just such a no-brainer to me. And I remember my team member that's already there freaking out a little bit because she was like, oh, I'm like, where's the busiest intersection? I was like, I'm not at bikini car wash levels, but we want it to be that kind of traffic, right? Where can we go? And she's like, there is this roundabout. I'm like, right, I'm in. Sold. How do we make the signs? What are we doing? What do we do that makes them, I don't know, toot and give us a wave? And a lot of people did, oh, haha, that's so funny. A couple of people maybe had the mum finger out. You shouldn't be doing this on the side of the road. Okay, fold your undies. Um, are you happy if we talk about them all? Because
Go
there
into
was
it.
the one that you witnessed as well.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, share
And
that
that
one.
was by far my favorite. So I printed
And you
up these
even did it
little,
to me.
yeah. Look, I'm not leaving any stone unturned, okay?
Your business card is actually just over there. So
Yeah.
yeah, it worked.
Exactly. So I printed out business cards and designed them up in Canva to look like a Polaroid picture. So let's like say four-fifths of it was a photo of me, and at the bottom it had a little white bit at the bottom that had a promo code on it, and on the reverse there was actually details about the company and how you can get in touch. So I would walk up to people, and when I was first starting this, like I think that started day one. As soon as I landed, I was like, great, how do I get these people to take my picture? I noticed it looked a bit weird if I didn't walk up with my phone. So as it happened, I would walk up with my device in my hand and the business card tucked underneath it, and then I would approach people. Excuse me, would you take my picture? So I was very clear on the wording to play into the semantic ambiguity of this, because the last thing I wanted to say is, would you take my photo? Because I wasn't handing them a photo. So then most of the time, and I caution this because I was a little bit shocked myself, we were met with a yes, which was great. So then I would whip out the business card photo side up and hand it to them and go, yay, thank you. And if you need help with home organization, please give me a call, or whatever I could see might be playing into at that time. However, as it turns out, Tam is very Gold Coast and came to South Australia, and it was just a little bit different because at one point I went to hand my photo to someone and I said, "Excuse me, would you take my picture?" And she went, "Why?" And I honestly, I think I glitched in that moment. I was like, um, I, you're just supposed to say yes."
That's not
And
the
I was like, I don't have an answer for this.
wrong answer.
Because all of the answers would be like, oh, well, I really want to capture this moment. And then I'm like, well, that's not true. And I don't want to lie to her. Like, that's not what I'm about here. I want to just play into the cheekiness
Yeah.
of it, I'm not trying to fool anybody. And so then all I could come up with was, oh, you're just supposed to say yes. And then she's like, oh, okay. Yeah, sure. And then I handed it to her and she's like, oh. And I'm like, all right, I'm just going to move away now quickly and we'll just get the next person. Run.
It's true because Adelaide is more typically more not conservative.
Yes, it did feel a little bit like reserved, Nelly,
Yeah,
even. And
totally. And so even when I was witnessing you do the same thing when we were getting ice cream, I was just observing from my point of view, and I could tell some people are like, like, no, I won't take your photo because Adelaide is can be like quite clicky as well, where just talking to strangers isn't that normal all the time, which I've
yeah,
personally noticed from traveling a lot interstate. It's so different. So that's
yeah.
just the Adelaide. Yeah. We're a hard bunch
So
to crack.
yeah, and so I grew up in Darwin and I thought it was very indicative of like, and I know Darwin's a capital city, though I felt very indicative of a small town that people talk to everyone. And then I think because Adelaide visually in the city reminded me a lot of Darwin,
Yes. We're a
I
big,
was like, these are my people.
yeah.
Yay! Oh, watch us take over the world together. Come, let's go.
Yeah.
And then, and I forgot, like, the population of Adelaide is something like 1.2 million. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, Darwin has 10% of that, maybe. This is a very different vibe now. And I forgot to map over the big city mentality
Yes.
into what was feeling a bit country town and all the beautiful roses. And you've got all those gorgeous cottage houses. And I was like, oh, yeah, I want to live here.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then I'm like, oh, hang on, how do I break the ice? And
Yes.
so that did definitely feel like my favorite um tactic, stunt to do.
Stunt. We're calling them
And
stunt. More
yeah,
fun.
stunt, definitely. Um because even too, I was noticing once people took it, like, so sometimes they'd take it and they'd just walk away like, oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah. Good
And then
joke.
they'd leave. And I was like, oh, we're not going to talk about this? No?
Yeah.
Okay. Bye. Tell all your friends. And then there were other people that were like, oh, I see what you did there. That's so clever. And then we would be able to even open a conversation about marketing and business and things like that and what we do. And they got to be an avenue that way. There was a fantastic conversation that we had with a couple of gentlemen in Glenelg, and they have a building company. And so they were then like, do you know what we should do? We should get you in to do the office. And they're like, do you do offices? And I was like, mate, if you have a drawer, we will make it organized. Like, come to me. And we had a thrilling chat, like for probably 20 minutes about that, just based off this one stunt that had
Yeah.
happened. And bless them, as we walked up, I think because I beelined to them, one of them even said to the other one, "Oh God, what have we done?" And I'm straight up to them, "Excuse me, sorry to interrupt. Would you take my picture?" "Oh, yeah, all right." And then I think everyone immediately thinks that they've forgotten how to use a phone too. It's like when you pull up to a random breath test and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I had a drink 3 Christmases ago. Oh, am I going to be okay?" Yeah, it's all right. Like, calm down. We're fine here. But it's like that. Someone's engaged me. Ah! So, yeah, interesting.
It's super interesting. Did you feel any challenges with executing all of these stunts? If you can't tell, you're
Yeah.
exude extreme confidence.
So, I really felt like this got to be the truest expression of me.
Oh,
Like, you've met
love
me in
that.
person prior to doing this too. So, I'm quite external, I'm quite extroverted, and I'm
Oh
very
yeah.
bubbly. And though too, at one point I remember we were up in Harndorf and my team member said, "Just go in there and talk to the owner of this shop." And I was like, "Oh," and it was still taking a little bit for me. And I've gone, "Actually, do you know what would be great? How about you take this one?" And I watched her face drop, and she quickly like fixed it again, as if almost as if we were playing poker. And I was like, "See that? See that feeling right then that just ran through your body?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "I get that too." And she's like, "Really?" I was like, "Well, yeah, I care. Like, this is my baby. I'm not just doing this willy-nilly. Like, I said, but the goal is right here. Like, it's at the tip of my nose. I could lick it. And I just am so dedicated to this that
Okay. Yeah.
there is no other way. This has to be the way. This is going to work. It's going to be amazing, and it's going to take off." I've said, though, it's still scary going to be like, how do I talk to that person? What do I say? What if they don't want to be my friend? Ah!
So, okay, talk more on how making the goal so front of mind, front of your
Mm,
nose,
yeah.
figuratively, is so crucial.
I think it probably like it made it so crystal clear and so directional that there isn't another way. Like, there is no other alternative available to me because I've brought the goal and the picture, like I'm quite visual, and I've brought the picture so close to my mind and my face that if I turn to look in another direction, I'm still seeing that one picture. Like, it's like holding the panoramic shot over your eyes.
Yeah.
And then as soon as you turn, it's still there. So it is everything towards that goal for me. And that is because I love the
I love
transformations we get to bring into people's homes. I love the mindset conversations that I get to have about their stuff. And then equally too with with coaching clients as well. I love supporting other home organizers to grow and scale their business. It was a great experience to be in this mode, breaking into a new city so that I can then also take that back to my clients and go, haha, you know what we're going to do? And I'm allowed to tell you to do it because I did it too. So it's the culmination of everything that I
Mm.
have inadvertently created by being so passionate about this. And then all of a sudden we're here and I now have like a national company. Like, I was I was just Tam. I was Tam that was getting overlooked for promotions because my boss loved me too much. Like, and she didn't want to let me go because I was too good at my job. So then I couldn't get a promotion in corporate because I'd have to leave,
Oh, wow.
right? Like, and wow, now look what I've done.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. If the listeners are not watching this on YouTube, you're missing out.
Yeah, definitely come back.
It's so animated. It's so great. It's so fun.
Yay. Oh.
Okay, amazing. So it
Yeah.
was, would you say, very successful, all your guerrilla marketing stunts in Adelaide?
It definitely broke the ice.
I can imagine.
And though I can appreciate, like, I do, having been there now, I can make sense that Adelaide does feel like, but are you one of us? And I know blonde hair and all 5 foot and a bit of me flying at them in stilettos. Actually, yeah, and there was cartwheels in Rundle Mall we were
I
doing as
know.
well.
I watched your reel so many times. I'm like, how is she doing a cartwheel in stilettos?
That was me too, because oh
How
gosh,
did you finesse that? It's so graceful.
right? I felt like I was like, man, God, I'm good at this. I should be doing more cartwheels. So let me. This is actually another thing, and I feel like this led into a great conversation I was able to have with our audience about introverts and extroverts too, because we were getting dressed to go out. I'd organized a dinner for professional organizers in the area so we could come meet, connect, have all of those like connections within our industry. It's still emerging, and so I feel like that's a great thing to foster. And then as soon as I got my little romper on, which was a boob tube, by the way, I was like, oh. And I looked at Lee because we were staying at the hotel together, and she goes, oh God, what is it? And her hands went above her face, and she was like, what have you had the idea of? And I was like, I just had the most brilliant idea. We need to go back to Rundle Mall and we need to film another cartwheel in this. And she's like, you're wearing stilettos. And in my mind, briefly, I was like, do I take them off or do I do it with them on? And I was like, I'm pretty sure I could do this with them on. I'll be right. And then she's like, I really think you should practice this. You're also in a boob tube. Like, what happens if one of the girls fall out? And I was like, no, babe, it's okay. My back is towards the camera. And she goes, what if the people in the mall see? And I was like, oh, that's okay. They'll only be there for a minute and I'll get them back on. That will be fine. I said, I'm more worried about social media getting it. And then Instagram bans the reel. Like, we can't have that. If this isn't content, like, what even is it? And so we moved the bed across the hotel room to clear me enough room to practice because I was like, I've just got to just quickly do it once. I don't want this to be the thing that means that I've like rolled and like landed on the floor and like everything's happened and it's a whole mess and I start crying. So let's just land one once. And we did it. I did it in a hotel room, didn't take out the light fitting that was hanging from the roof. So I was like, great, I did this inside. I can do it anywhere. Let's go. And we got downstairs and we're walking towards the mall. And she's like, so just to be clear, seeing all these people, you still think that this is a good idea? I was like, babe, everything towards the goal. We are doing this. This is going to be great. And then she had built it up so much in her mind. She's like, okay, so what do we do when they all start looking and you land the cartwheel and then they like clap? And I was like, oh, I don't know about that happening, but sure, let's run that timeline. Okay. Um, so all right, here are all the business cards, the one with my photo. I was like, you hold these, and then if they come up and talk to us, like I'll just announce at the end of it, if you think my cartwheels are great, you should see me organize a pantry. And then we'll hand out the business cards to them, okay? And so then there was this whole like, we've shoved everything we owned into her tiny little handbag so she could have that between her knees, so she could have the business cards in one hand to promptly like run out to hand them to people and the phone in the other. And honestly, no one really looked past, like they all watched me the setup, like so when I'm standing in the mall with my hands above my head they're all watching, and
Yeah,
because there's
that little
someone holding the
roundup.
phone, yeah. And then no one came up. I was actually offended after that. I
Oh
was like,
no.
oh, you ran me down this timeline where they all come up and applaud me, and I was like expecting flowers. Where is everybody?
Standing ovation.
Yeah, I'm like, oh,
Love
okay, that's fine. And then equally too, I can appreciate that everyone, and due to what I would say is like the mental load of the clutter and the house and the life and the things,
Yes.
they're so consumed with their own. Okay. So I've got to go to Woolies. I need a broccoli, a cauliflower, and some steaks, and then I can go home. And then if I'll catch the 5:45, and it's that narrative of the timeline that they're living on. And then hey, here's this like random blonde chick in a red romper doing and stilettos. Wow, doing cartwheel. Okay. So yeah, so 5:45 train, and it was
Yeah.
maybe a break state. I'm not sure. I had a great time though. I feel like I'm going to do them everywhere.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see more content. The high stiletto as well.
Yeah, right. I'm like, wow, get bigger shoes. Ha ha ha.
Oh my gosh, so great. So
Yeah.
clearly you have created and exude a lot of success in all that you've done. So winding it back, what do you feel you wish you knew before you started?
The biggest one for me is how much my words create my reality. And I believe that for every single one of us. And so, like whether it's, losing your words in a conversation and being like, oh, my words, they've left me today. Like, don't frame it that way. Like, go positively, call them back in. Words, come to me. Where are you? Come to me, and then little things like that, and just changing the way my brain narrates what's going on has then shifted my outlook,
Mhm.
made it bigger. Like I've always been quite an extroverted external person anyway, though I feel like I'm so much happier running the positive version of the narrative through this rather than sitting in some sort of like, it's happening to me, it's happening for me and through me. And like, yeah. So as soon as that shifted, that felt amazing. And it has really changed things. And then since then, I feel, as maybe crazy as this might sound,
No,
I
sure.
feel like I'm getting more and more evidence to further support that I control the system. Like my version of reality, everything that I'm doing and thinking and the ideas that are coming to my mind, that is beginning to influence the world that I see. And I would love to tell you that I can take credit for changing the entire bin day for the whole of the Gold Coast.
How'd you do that?
I don't know, I just wanted Mondays and then I finally got it. And so the entire Gold Coast got sent a letter at the beginning of March saying bin day is changing.
Oh my
And they're
God.
like, your new bin day. And they sent, so 3 years ago, we moved from another suburb within the same postcode, no less, about 10 kilometers away. And when we got here, we moved from a Monday collection to a Friday morning collection. And it's the pits. Like, okay, I've worked out how to hack that too. However, I was like, Monday is the day. You do the grocery shopping on the weekend, and then you want to clean out the fridge on Sunday night, and then you put the bin out, and then there's no issue with maggots. You don't need to leave frozen food, like the meat in the freezer to like keep it. You just get it goes away. Haha. And so I was like, we need Monday. Monday back. Like Monday is the best bin day. Monday is the best bin day. Well, lo and behold, this beautiful little letter comes floating through my mailbox. I nearly called it an inbox then. I was like, no, what's the real one? Um, and then, great, open it up. Bin day's changing. And then I was like, oh my God, we're getting Monday. No way. I did it. I've manifested it. It has come for me. This is the greatest. So I jumped straight into a coaching container that I'm part of, and I was like, guys, I've done it again. I've created my reality. The entire Gold Coast is getting their bin day changed so that I can have Mondays. Well, little did I know, there were people that were already on Monday that then got bumped from Monday because I wanted it. And I had nothing else to say except, suckers. Because a couple of the coaches that I work with lost Monday and got bumped to Tuesday. And I was like, that's okay, guys. It's fine. It's only Tuesday. At least it's not Thursday. Well, my mother, who was in the house at the time because she'd helped me with the kids that afternoon, goes, no, I've got Thursday now. You took my Monday. And bless her, in the middle of my voice recording, she is ranting. And I was like, guys, just do better to create your own reality because I now have Mondays. So I don't care.
I love that like simple scenario, how it just is so profound in
It
so
was
many.
everything. I jumped on
Yeah.
Instagram, did a whole live about it. I was like,
Oh
guys,
my
I got Monday.
God.
It's the best day ever. Everyone's like, it's a bin day. Why is this a thing for you?
Did you
It's
create your
so good.
reality? Yeah, that's brilliant.
Right. And
That's
I
brilliant.
wish I made sense of that earlier and started controlling my
Yeah,
reality earlier, like, and
okay.
influencing it better.
There
Because
we go.
that it's so powerful. And I think it's the basis behind all of the manifesting. It's
Yes.
that thing that keeps the fire as a fire in your belly rather than the simmering embers when you're not really following what you want to do, right? And if you can nail that and then practice it by way of even, and it might feel delusional at first, but just telling yourself,
Yeah.
no, this is going to happen. It's the thing. It's
Yeah.
happening. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. It will come to fruition.
Yes.
You too can change your city's bin day.
Well, maybe when I move up to the Gold Coast, I'll make sure I manifest a Monday bin day.
Yeah. All right. You
Hopefully,
manifest a house in a Monday bin day because you changed my bin day. I'm
I
coming
was
back.
about to say, I was about to say, maybe I'll change now.
Yeah. 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 Right.
I don't do
Pull it
that.
out. I'll be like, that's fine. I'm selling. No worries. I'll be in the other suburb. I'll be chasing Mondays. Excuse me, Mr. Real Estate. And yes, I need a house on a Monday bin day. If you don't have any of them for sale, don't worry about calling me back. Oh
Ask what you
dear.
say, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is moral of the
God.
story. Like, look past the conversation of the bins. Moral of the
Yes,
story, ask for what you want and you create your own reality, which is something that I
exactly.
talk about a lot that I know a lot of people share, but that's all for a reason.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah. Whenever I fly, I always affirm I am available, I am open for upgrades for my
Yeah.
flight, whether that's, just a seat change to more legroom or business class or whatever that is. And like when I really put my energy and focus towards it, it always happens. So it's
Yeah.
believing it. But sometimes we doubt, oh, what's the point? I can't be bothered.
Oh,
Like,
I won't. Yeah.
yeah.
Not
But
me.
imagine
I don't.
someone has to be that person. Just ask.
Absolutely. And even at the, like, I miss the days where you didn't, like, where you checked in with a human, because then you
Yes.
could ask, like, hey, are there any
Yes.
better seats that you could move me to? And
Yes.
especially if you're by yourself, because no one really wants that middle seat anyway, and pop you
Exactly.
right up there into row
Yeah.
one.
No, I
Yeah.
always ask if they are checking me
Yeah.
in.
If you can
Okay.
talk to somebody.
Sweeten them up,
Absolutely.
see what they have for you, and if not,
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
You've asked, you've made them laugh, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah,
true. And
yeah.
it's just like, I think it's opening yourself up to all of the different avenues of that too. I know when I'm booking flights, unless I've got the whole family with me, I don't select my seat because I'm like, no, I'm so open to the universe
I
putting
love
me in a
that.
row that where I need to be. And on the flight home from the Gold Coast, there were on two businessmen sitting behind me, also entrepreneurs having a great old chat. And so waited for a break in my conversation, got my little cards ready.
Hello, hello.
Ba-dum! Here's Tam popping over the chair in front of you. Hi, excuse me, sorry to interrupt. Would you take my picture? Now, if there is any more confusing time to ask that, it's when we're held captive in a steel box. And I already had two people, one on either side of me, but I want you guys to take my picture. I do home organization and decluttering, and it's such an angle to be on too, handing things over the top of an airplane chair. So blah 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 blah. And because they were in the in the biz, in the trade of being business people, they completely got it. We then had a rip roaring conversation for like 30 to 45 minutes to the point that someone else in 16E told me to shush. She's like, excuse me, can you turn it down? And I was like, okay, no worries. And then I was like, she told me to shush. And then the boys were like, what? Really? And then the woman next to me, I didn't even think you were being that loud. And I was like, that's okay. I've actually had that my whole life. It doesn't even, like, I don't even hear it now. I'm like, okay, as I was. I'm over here being happy. Sorry, can't hear your negativity.
Take up space.
Right. And ask for what you want. I now have a fantastic connection who can help me with truck rental until Sort My Space buys one.
Perfect.
Right.
Meant to be.
Yeah.
I
So
love
great.
that. I love that.
Mm.
Oh, Tamara, it's been so fun having you on the podcast. You just
Thank
exude so
you.
much confidence. And if you're not watching, I know we've said it before, highly recommend jumping on YouTube because it's even more fun just to see all your movements and animations and
Yay.
your energy. I can already feel it through the screen. And I hope the listeners can as well. You've brought so
Yay.
much value. I love to wrap up all of my interview episodes by asking, what is something you've recently started in your life?
Ooh. So I have started this year learning a recipe each month. So the
Love
first,
that.
once a week, the intention is to cook it. So last month I learned how to do gluten-free chicken schnitzel, which I know is not like anything too wild. And though I have to like get the schnitzels and then crumb them and do the things myself. So that was the meal that I was learning to do, chopping it up and getting it all exciting. Like put it in a salad with bacon. It gets a bit more elaborate than that. However, so the intention is to learn it and cook it for the 4 weeks of the year of the month, sorry, over and over again with the recipe. So then by the end of it, I can bank it and it's now another recipe that I actually know and I can cook by touch. Because so often of my week, I do things by touch rather than like reading a whole recipe about it. And so I was like, I want to just expand the repertoire. What can I do? So that's been my thing this year.
I love that. So
Mhm.
what's your recipe this month?
This month, ooh, I'm not actually sure yet. I don't
It's
know
still early
if,
days.
yeah, I was like, why don't I know that yet? I should double check.
It's only April 3rd for those tuning in as we're
Yeah,
recording. Okay,
we've got a
well,
little bit of time.
yeah, that's right. We have to have some leeway. Well, I'm keen to hear what your recipe is.
Yes.
Yay. Well, yeah, thank you so much, Tamara. It's been so much fun. I know the
Mm.
audience would get so much value. And yeah, I'm so excited to see you in person tomorrow. For those listening, I'm in Adelaide right now, but I'm actually flying to the Gold Coast tomorrow and I get to see you tomorrow and Saturday. And it's going to be
Yeah.
so much fun.
Yes, so great.
Yay.
Oh, we'll
Love it.
jump on Instagram and snap a picky for everyone. So we can be like, hey, my
Yes.
face matches my voice, right?
I love it. Well, thank you so much. And I will pop all of your details below in the show notes. And yeah, unless there's anything else you wanted to share with the audience, but they'll be sure to find your website, your business, your Instagram, and definitely go check out her reels of her doing the cartwheel in a boob tube in stilettos. I kid you not, I watched that so many times because I'm like, how is she doing this?
It worked really well. I was really impressed. I was actually worried that we might like fail one and then need to do it again, which was also going to be fine, and nailed it first go. Because
Love
see,
it.
if you're all in on you, life's all in on you back,
That's it. I love how everything's just, there's so many metaphors in everything you
right?
shared today. For those listening, I really hope you can tune back in and recognize that. I know I've
Yeah.
been able to like recognize that in everything you're saying. It's not just about the business and tidying, it's about what that means on a deeper level and mapping everything across. So, yay, it's been so, so great to
Yay.
have you on the show.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I've also got a little present for all of the listeners too, if that's
Oh,
okay.
of course, share away.
Yay. So I have a wardrobe shopping guide, which is all about, I guess, how to make sense of everything that happens to be in the organization section of Kmart and Big W and
Yes.
Bunnings. So it's all put together on my website, and we've got a Start Somewhere promotional code that you can use so you can have it for free. So
Yay. Oh, thank you so
just
much for listening.
podcast name, all in capital letters, no spaces. Go for it.
Amazing. We'll pop those
Yay.
details in the show notes as well. Thank you so much,
Mm-hmm.
Tamara. So
Yay.
appreciate that.